These two objectives will be covered over 2 lectures. At the end of this Part 2 video, you should be able to fully distinguish between physical properties and chemical properties of matter and classify changes of matter as physical or chemical. Chapter 1, Section 2, Physical Properties and Physical Changes. A physical property is a characteristic that can be observed or measured without changing the identity of the substance. Physical properties describe the substance itself, rather than describing how it can change into other substances. Examples of physical properties are melting point and boiling point. Those points are, respectively, the temperature at which a substance melts from a solid to a liquid, and the temperature at which it boils from a liquid to a gas. For example, water melts from ice to liquid at 0 degrees Celsius, which is 273 Kelvin or 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Liquid water boils to vapor at 100 degrees Celsius, which is 373 Kelvin or 212 degrees Fahrenheit. A change in a substance that does not involve a change in the identity of the substance is called a physical change. Examples of a physical change include grinding, cutting, melting, and boiling a material. These types of changes do not change the identity of the substance present. Chemical properties and chemical changes. Physical properties can be observed without changing the identity of the substance, but properties of the second type, chemical properties, cannot. A chemical property relates to a substance's ability to undergo changes that transform it into different substances. Chemical properties are easiest to see when substances react to form new substances. For example, the ability of charcoal, which is carbon, to burn in air is a chemical property. When charcoal burns, it combines with oxygen in air to become a new substance, carbon dioxide gas. After the chemical change, the original substances, carbon and oxygen, are no longer present. A different substance with a different set of properties is formed. Other examples of chemical properties include the ability of iron to rust by combining with oxygen in air, and the ability of silver to tarnish by combining with sulfur. A change in which one or more substances are converted into different substances is called a chemical change or chemical reaction. The substances that react in a chemical change are called reactants. The substances that are formed by the chemical change are called products. In the case of burning charcoal, carbon and oxygen are the reactants in a combustion or burning reaction. Carbon dioxide is the product. The chemical change can be described as follows. Carbon plus oxygen yields or forms carbon dioxide. Arrows and plus signs can be substituted for the words yields and plus, respectively, as is shown at the bottom of the screen now. The decomposition of a mercury compound, shown in Figure 1-7 on page 14 of your text or on the screen now, can be expressed using the same arrows and plus signs, representing the words yields and plus. Chemical changes in reactions, such as combustion and decomposition, form products whose properties differ greatly from those of the reactants. However, chemical changes do not affect the total amount of matter present before and after the reaction. The amount of matter, and therefore the total mass, remains the same.
When liquid bromine is added to aluminum foil, the two substances react. Heat and light are indications of a chemical reaction. Aluminum bromide is produced and deposited onto a cooler surface.
Breaking a piece of chalk in 2 or more pieces is an example of a physical change. Regardless of how many times the chalk is broken, it is still chalk. The physical properties of size and shape are altered, but the chemical properties of the chalk remain the same. An example of a chemical change is baking a cake. When baking a cake, eggs, flour, sugar, oil, and other ingredients are combined. Each ingredient has its own set of properties. If the ingredients are mixed together and baked, something completely different is created. The heat from the oven and the interaction of the cake ingredients cause a chemical change.
At this point, you should be able to fully distinguish between the physical properties and chemical properties of matter, and classify changes of matter as physical or chemical.